Hello YouTubers, you are watching Lisa, Crafts at Home with Lisa. So today I wanted to just show you some pretty amazing moulds that I've been bought off of Amazon. I've been asked to do a memories box by a friend, so I want to sort of have a go at doing it. I like steampunk dragons. Anybody that knows me, and if you've watched previous videos, you know that I am fairly partial to dragons. So as a sort of a kind thing to do, I would just sort of like to have a go at making this box. Okay, so I did say I was going to release some more animals. I did the giraffe, but change of plan. My granddaughter now doesn't want animals and all that, and my daughter, so I don't know what's happening with that at the moment. I can tell you that I am pleased to say we are having a little boy grandson. So I will be bringing you some scrapbook stuff. We want to do him a little scrapbook. My daughter did one for my granddaughter while she was pregnant. Of course, first baby, you have loads of time on your hands. Second baby, no time at all, because she's too busy looking after the first. So we're going to do it as a surprise for her with all her scan pictures and appointments and all that sort of thing in it. So I will bring some information, or we'll do a video about sort of getting some scrapbooks going on. So today I wanted to show you these. They are Katy designs. Now I've used a lot of these before. I've got other bits and bobs, a lot of other silicone stencils that I've used in the past. But these ones, I liked these ones because they were very steampunk. So if you can see that, they're like metal, pipes, chain, and some really lovely sort of lettering, which in the ad it does show you can use it on like Game of Thrones, things like that. So I just really wanted to show you what these actually look like. Now I've done I will show you how to do the chains, but I've done a chain of those, because they are they're quite time consuming, because you have to put each bit in. But doesn't that look amazing? Look at that. As a chain, and I mean there's loads of different kinds on there as well. If I show you the mould. So you've got loads of thicknesses, thinnesses and all that sort of thing. This one is this row here. But they're really effective. And with the clay, because they are for fondant as well, they go kind of, if you can see that, they're kind of cracked, some of them, so it makes them look oldie-worldy. The other thing I'm going to do is have a go at using some finishing wax. I've never used it before, so we'll have a go at sort of using a bit of that and seeing what it looks like. So I've been warming up this piece of clay now for the last sort of 10 minutes, so just move that over there. So this is the first one. This is what I want to cover the box in. So I'm just going to roll it out, and the best way that I found, and I started off using these Suzy Q designs from doing fondant, is how I did it originally, and clay is much easier. The only thing you have to be careful of is if you warm it up so it makes it pliable to get it into the mould, that it doesn't become sticky, which is what I found yesterday. Okay, so I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to do the whole thing, I'm just going to show you sort of a part in the corner here. So what you want to do when you do it and you first put it in is you want to work it in really nicely. So just pushing and whatnot with your thumbs, getting right to the edges, really sort of flattening it out. So that's how I do it, whether that's the correct way, but that works well for me. Okay. And then after I finish sort of pushing and shoving and whatnot, I get a rolling pin, preferably a clean one. Oh, my cat's trying to get into the boxes. They're sulking because they've been to the vets this morning, fleas and worms. Okay, and then roll it. Pushing down, as this is what's going to happen. See how it's sort of sticking. Now some people wet it, which is possible, I suppose, which I can try now. Where we go? Okay, my little water. It sort of needs to do a changing. I'll get the lid off. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to try wetting it and see what happens. I'm going to keep some kitchen rolls to the side of it so that I know that I've got some, so we can dry it. There we go. Right, so we're going to try again. I'm going to clean my... That's another thing, is if your tools are dirty, it will stick to them. Right, okay. So let's try this now. There we go. That works a dream. Obviously, when you get a bigger piece in there, it won't lift like it's doing at the moment. And it would probably be a good idea to put water on it in a little spray bottle underneath. Okay. So if we take that out now, see how easy that came out? And oh dear. There you go. That's what we've got. So remember, I'm just doing the corner. So see where that's double, because it's where it's moved, and then I've rolled over again. So do excuse that bit. Let's just concentrate on this corner here. So that's that one. So we'll put that to one side. I'll show you how hard it is to do this chain. I'll show you perhaps in the bigger one in the middle here, just to make it a little bit easier for you to see. Let me just pick up mine. Now, I generally don't use water. I feel like I can get away with it better, but perhaps I will start using it with things like this one that we've just done. Okay, so take a piece of clay, roll it so it's long. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to try and start with open up the mould. Okay, because you're using clay, you can break it off, and like we did before, just keep pushing it down. And then I just break bits off and put them in, basically, largish bits, and then just work it in. That is definitely the plan here, is just to keep working it. And because it's clay, it will sink right down into all the sort of grooves and gullies. So nice, and you kind of need it nice and thin so it fits right down deep inside. So see, straight in there. If it's a bit tight, sort of kind of fold it backwards on itself, and it'll make it a little bit bigger for you to get the clay into. So yes, I hear you say it can cause problems when it comes to take it out, but I will show you how I do it. Okay, so you want that right down inside, and then push it about like that. And then what that will do is, because you're using clay, it will like push it all together. Okay, so I can see a gap in there. I'm just going to push, see how it just moulds straight in because it's clay. And it's the same with fondant. The only issue you have with fondant is it's a little bit more sticky. So you do have to be a little bit careful, and you need to make sure that you use either casting sugar. I use corn flour, and really give it a dusting. Then get a brush in there, use a brush, really give it and get it right into the corners on that if you're using a fondant, because it does cause big problems if you don't do it. Now the other thing that I would sort of learn is, if you've got a certain pattern, stick to it. Otherwise, when it comes out, you have to cut it about. Now is the time to do the work. Well, it's in there. I know that I can push it and pull it about as much as I like. Now if you have to swipe some off, use your thumb side. So you're just going to swipe, and if you see how that comes off on the end there, see, we've just got all of that off of, and it doesn't look much, but it is when you've got clay and whatnot in mould, whether it's clay, whether it's fondant. Fondant will come off a lot easier, so you don't need to push quite as hard with fondant, with the thumb. So I like to just make sure I've got right to the edges, pushing and pulling about. So I know that chain is now done. The other thing you need to be careful is if you are like me, have pets, I have 2 cats and a dog, then you will, the silicone sticks dog hair to it and cat hair. So if you're doing cakes and things like that, you need to be a little bit more careful, because obviously you don't want hair in that amongst your fondant. Not very pleasant for anybody to bite into. The other thing is, if you swap from fondant to clay like I do, you must make sure you wash your tools properly, because I can't imagine it would do you much good to chew on a lump of clay. So mine I wash in hot water, and then it goes through our dishwasher on a pre-wash is what I'm looking for. On a pre-wash, and then a very hot wash. So just make sure that you've got it all nice and clean, that's all. Okay, so I'm not far from finishing this one now. The chain one, like I say, it can be quite time consuming. Okay, there we go. So just a little bit more, I think, down the ends. Down there. Okay, like so. Okay, right, so I think that is pretty much done. Let's give it another last poke about. I could probably get a little bit more in there, but I'm not going to, because I'm quite happy with what I've got. Okay, now to get them out, you're going to go along and you're just going to pull them apart, like so. Make sure there's nothing stuck around the edges from all directions. Let's just kind of pull it apart nicely. And then to put it out, you're going to bend it back on itself. Now, these moulds from Katy Sue Designs, they are fantastic. They bend every which way, and they really are great. So this is what we've now done. See, this is what we've just made. How amazing is that? It is absolutely amazing. This I'm so pleased with this mould. I don't think, though, in all fairness, I've ever bought a Katy Sue design and not been pleased with it. I've got butterfly ones and other bits and bobs and that. But it really is nice. Really, if for steampunks and things like that, which is what I should be doing, that really works lovely. So that's the chain one. So the next one is pipes. Now, we're going to have a look at doing a small pipe, so we'll do this one here, or actually let's do this one on the corner here, and we'll do one of these. They're supposed to be, I assume, like pipe handles that you turn. Okay, so we're going to do this one, so we're going to make sure we're nice and pliable. Okay, here we go, and then we're going to put it in the same way. We're going to squish it about, okay, getting it right down. And it's popped out right down into those corners. It's a bit of a catch-22, like I said earlier. If you're going to do with clay, you kind of want it soft so it's pliable, but at the same time, if it's too soft, it will stick to your fingers like it's doing to me. So I'm just going to pop a little bit more in the middle, because like I said earlier as well, it's clay, so we can do that. Okay. It looks a bit of a mess on the top at the moment because it's got all the clay sort of floating about. And we haven't moulded it together yet. So as we work it round and as we push it down, we're going to push it down and see that kind of moulds it all together. So like I said earlier on as well, make sure you get it inside the mould. You don't want it around the top or around the edges, because you have to then cut it all off, which uses craft knife and everything, which is fine if that's what you want to do, but I find it's quicker and easier if you just do it straight directly. Keep it inside the mould, and then there's nothing afterwards that you've got to do. Okay, so there we go, push down nice and deep. So we're going to do the same again. We're going to make sure that it's not stuck in any way around the edges, and then this one, look, just comes straight out, and that looks absolutely brilliant. Okay, so happy with that one. So this one we're going to try a corner piece. Then in a minute we're going to spell my name. Okay. Okay, I hope everybody's keeping safe. The R number coming down now, which is fantastic. So well done everybody for staying in. And those that have to go out, it's a bit scary. So thank you to everybody who's helped, and nurses and everybody. You've been fantastic. And it's been absolute nightmare time. Who'd have thought it, ever going on this sort of time and this sort of amount. I'm actually going to do a straight one, because I've kind of rolled it into a, if you can see that, it's a bit of a straight one. So we're going to squeeze it in like we did before. This time we don't need to make it so thin, like you know how we did it before, where we made very, very thin pieces so it fitted inside the, right, that's too much, we've got too much. I'm just going to pinch a piece off. I know that that's not going to be enough now, but that's okay, because we can add to it. I think it would be quite close though. I'm either one of those people that puts too much in, or I'm one of those people that puts not enough in. I can never come to a happy medium where I'm happy with the amount I originally put in first. I'm one of those. You might not have to put any in at all, you know. Okay, so pushing it down, like so. Just, you see how nicely that's gone in. So we have got a little bit too much in there. And we think we've picked off the right amount, which is a first for me. Okay, make sure you show detail right into these corners. Okay, right, sort of right into them, otherwise you won't get the desired effect when it comes out. Okay, same thing again, go around, make sure it's not stuck anywhere, and this one's sort of offering it straight out. There we go. And there you have the pipe, if you can see that. And then you can go through and you can make all of these, lots of them over and over again, and they will all interlink together. And then you've got the handles. Again, fantastic, fantastic. This is all to do, like I say, with a bit of steampunk. Okay, what I'm going to do is just get my husband to open up this tin of wax. Sean, can you open this tin of wax for me? Okay, what I'm going to do now with the letters, also came from the steampunk section. So this time I'm just going to spell my name. Now, lettering is not so easy. So we're back to sort of squeezing it back into a sausage, a really fine sausage. Like this. And then I've got to find the L. There it is. Oh, I got it upside down. I have. Okay, you might have to stir it. So I've never used this finishing wax, guys, before. So it's a bit of an eye-opener. Thank you. So we're just going to squeeze it in there like we did before. Move the mould around so that you can get your... Okay, that's not quite thin enough. See what I mean? You need to... Pooh, that smells. Make sure it's nice and thin. Then it'll get right down into the bottom and you can add to the top easier than trying to get right down into the bottom and then it not working and sort of missing out parts. See, like the back of this L, if you can see here, it kicks back. So if you just repeatedly squeeze like so, and it will go in. And then you want a very, 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 very small piece, like so. And you're just going to squeeze it onto the top, straight down onto the top. Make sure you push it well though, because you don't want a joining line. You want it all joined together. There's probably a little bit too much in there, but that's okay. There we go. I'm just going to put a little bit in the very, very front of that because it kicks up again rather than kicking out. Try and keep it flat on the back of this bit if you can, because it won't sit flat when you've dried and ovened it. It won't sit as flat as you would want it to. Right. So again, make sure it's not stuck. You do the same with the fondant. Just sort of move it around, make sure it's sort of coming out. And again, this is another Katy Sue Designs one. I do like them. They're very bulky. They're very, they're not so bad to use. They're very, very detailed, which is another thing I do like. Right, so we've got an eye now. Can you see the hassle this eye is going to be? But not if we do like we said. So, in at the bottom, like so, and then just really, really push this one about, because you really need it to go into those ends. If you're not quite got enough, just pick off a really small dinky bit, and just pop it towards the end there, like so. It's perfect. And then again, I'm going to do the same at the other end. Just a very, very thin, roll it out so it's a bit on the thinner side, and then just push it in. But make sure it's all like nice and well moulded together. Okay, there's the eye. Make sure it's not stuck in there, and very gently pull it out. Okay, so now we've got a tough one, the S. S is always tough, doesn't matter who you are or what you're doing. S's are the toughest. It's because of all their curvy lines. Okay, I'm going to break that off there so I know that stays in there. And my finger's getting a bit sticky now. I think that's just sort of residue of clay. Okay, same again. I'm going to push it down as hard as we can get it, fold it in and push it into that end. You see that's just gone straight in. There we go. Right into those corners, right into the tips. Beautiful. Okay, so I think that's the S done. And then we go from a curvy lined one to a very straight lined one. Okay. They can be a little bit awkward to get out, the S's, because they're so curvy. But that looks good enough to me. I'm very, very happy. What I'll do in a minute is I'll sort of gently stick them down to the tile so that when we do it, it won't move. Right, so the A, I'm going to get this little band, just drop me a piece of clay, I'll pick that up in a minute. I'm going to get this little piece of band bit in the middle there done first, because that is a bit of an awkward bit. There we go. It really is sticking to my finger now. And then we're going to go down. So remember, you're just putting your base clay in first. I mean, if you get a whole amount in there and it's enough, then that's great. See? Hairs. Look at that. Don't use any sharp tools as such in it, in your silicone mould, otherwise you'll end up damaging it. You don't want to do that. Right. So just pushing and pushing and pushing. Make sure you're moulding it together. And I can tell instantly that there's a gap there. So I'm going to put a little bit on there. Like so. Beautiful. I love working with clay. It's so much easier than fondant. And for so many years I just sort of did fondant for cakes and things and baby showers. I did some really good stuff. but now I've kind of got used to using clay, and I don't really want to go back. Right. There's the A done. So I'm going to make sure it's not stuck. Like there, see, that bottom side popped out, so that was clearly a stuck piece. And then we're just going to fold it back and gently ease it out. There we go. So let's clean up this board so you can see. Sorry about my little gold patch. I need to straighten that out so you can see it better. Now that wording I think is absolutely lovely. It's very, very bold and sort of in your face a bit, and I like that. It's a good size. This is just a standard tile, so you can get to see how much, what I mean about the size. It is pretty cool. Okay, so then we've got this bit, and then we've got our pipe, our chains that we made, which I'm going to sort of generally stick down a little bit because I want it to there's our other little bit of chain. It's slightly bigger than that one, and our round bit. There we go. And I'll just move those bits out of the way. Right, so I'm going to use and try my finger. I've never ever used this before, so I wanted to sort of do it with you online. So I've got a little bit on my finger, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to gently rub. I want the oldie worldy sort of look. I've got my piece of paper here, tissue paper. Goodness me, you don't need much. And it should just pick up just the tops. So what I'm going to do on the top of the box, I'm going to use this and then I'm going to butt them up together so the whole top of the box is covered in like metal, and then I'm going to have one of my dragons sort of sat on top of it, one of my dragon heads, which is a previous film, so for video, so if you'd like to go and have a look at that one. Right, I've loaded my finger up a little bit, and that might be a bit much. Okay, loaded it up a little bit more, we'll see what happens. Right, so a little bit more, gives it a little bit darker. I quite like it quite a little bit darker, so I'll try it again a little bit darker on that one. So tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm liking that, very much so. Right, let's try this one. I like the edges doing as well. I'm a bit funny like that, otherwise it looks a little bit odd. Okay, let's try my name. Right, I think the only thing it's going to do on my name is just, unless you sort of go down the side. So I think lettering, certainly this kind of lettering, it's not really worked for, is it? It's just kind of a, it's because this one comes up in a point. If you've got one that was flat, then it would work for that, wouldn't it? So just something to remember. Right, what do you think of that one? The pipe looks pretty good. Now if it was, when I come to do it, I'd probably pick it up and just make sure I get all the edges, because I think it will look a bit odd if you don't. So just get it right down to the edge, like so. Again on the other side. And I think that just looks a lot better, rather than sort of leaving it. Trying to get it as high as you can. That's not going to be quite so easy, so I think what I'll do is try with a brush. Use an older brush because I'm not sure what will happen to it. Okay, got a little bit on my brush. All you want to do is just give it a little bit of a up round the back there, and again just so it's not sort of seen. That's probably my daughter. Oh, no, my mum. Hang on 2 seconds, folks. I'll just shut the door. Sean, can you shut the kitchen door, please? Right, okay. Where was we? Right, okay. So, there we go, underneath there. So get the ends as well. Goodness me, I can hear her right down in... I'm in a completely different room. Okay, so that's the pipe done. So it looks pretty good. So pipe versus finger, paintbrush versus finger. I don't know, because I think in here, look, it probably could do with a little bit of just a quick bit like that, and yeah, like so, like that, and then we're going to try it on the chain. Okay, I'll just do this one here, just straight over the top, the sides. I do like the brush. It does make it much easier to do, because then you can get sort of in the middle, in between. Try and get as much of it sort of area covered, because you don't want it to look like you've missed bits, basically, like so. And if it was stuck down better onto the tile, it would make it easier. So if you can see that one. So that one's with the brush, and I'm just going to do one with my finger, so just so you can see the comparison, okay? Right, which one do you prefer? Put in the comments below, do let me know. I think I prefer the brushed one, if you can see that. Right, so the little one was the brushed one, and the bigger one was the fingered one, the one that I used the end of my finger for. And I think I've got definitely more coverage with the brush, and it definitely helped to get right into those nooks and crannies. There's the cog thing, the handle from the pipes. I used the brush afterwards, which looks pretty good. And then these are really good. I'm really pleased with those. That might be worth looking at with perhaps a mica powder. Might give it that sort of gold tinge to it. And I think it'd look better as well if it was like a black, like a dark grey, and then you use that because it's like an antique gold. And actually I didn't pay for the craft one because I didn't want, it's a little tin, and I watched a lot of reviews and I didn't want a polish, I wanted a wax. So I bought finishing wax. Oh, sorry folks. See, gold finishing wax Johnson's. It's furniture finishing wax, so it's I think pretty much the same. What I might do is order one of the craft ones and just a different colour, and then just try it next to this one. But this is absolutely fine. It was huge. It was like £7, which is half the price of the little ones for crafting. So I will get one of the little ones and we'll see what happens. So there you go. Thanks for watching. We've made a good mess. And hit that subscribe button for me so we know and you never miss another video. So I'm going to be doing a lot of comparisons now over the next sort of couple of weeks. Like the different waxes and things like that. They're very messy. And then we'll go from there. I will cook them, and I do want to do a finishing coat one. So I've got, I want to use Mod Podge, varnish. I've got a couple of different kinds of Mod Podge. And I want to just sort of have a look. I've got a proper finishing varnish. And we'll see which one's the best one. So that's going to be one of them. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.